Welcome everyone to the Winning Brand Podcast. I'm Chasey McGee, your host. Thank you for following the winning movement. Please take a moment to rate and review the podcast. As always, it is definitely greatly appreciated. Today's guest is a woman after my own heart, Amber Griffiths. Branding rock star and speaker, is driven by the belief that every entrepreneur has a unique story that only they can share. She has spent more than 2 decades working on hundreds of business owners, creating brands worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Amber is currently a member of the EWomenNetwork, Women's Coaching Association, and Public Speakers Association. She is dedicated to helping you create your rockstar brand that is clear, cohesive, and converts. You will make more money and experience the genuine thrill of working with people you adore and getting to do what you love to do. Hey, Amber, what's going on?
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so happy to have you on. I love, everything, all things branding and marketing. I think the world goes around with those two.
Absolutely. It is the core of everything. Whether you like it or not, you can admit it or not. Exactly. It's just how it is.
Definitely, for sure. So tell us your backstory and how you got into becoming a branding rock star.
Oh my goodness. Let's see. I started out, I was going to be a pharmacy technician. And anyone who knows me now is like, so what? And then I realized that drugs don't have a lot of personality, and I missed the people. So I got into the design, and as I worked with more of the graphic design part of it, I watched these entrepreneurs. I worked with a large real estate firm for the first 9 years and watched them struggle and do things the hard way. And then as I launched my business, I watched these entrepreneurs get so focused on what was going on out there that they forgot why they started their business. They started doing things the hard way, and they would struggle to the point of quitting. It would take a year, sometimes as much as 2 years if they were really lucky. They're really determined. And I just thought, if I could help them get back to the basics, start with that foundation that just is all about them, what they really love to do, their genius, and working with their ideal clients, everything else kind of falls into place. Like that kind of a foundation, everything else evolves and grows with you. So.
Exactly. So you talk about how to make it clear, how to make it cohesive, and how to make it convert. Can you break those elements down for us, for those that are kind of new and trying to get into business and kind of trying to figure this thing all out?
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to. For me, the first thing is your voice, your story, your unique spin on everything, your special sauce, your flair, whatever you want to call it. You are the core of your business. I've worked with businesses that are startups with, $500 budget, and I've worked with multi-million-dollar companies. And no matter what the budget, and no matter how long you've been in business, really that comes down to the same thing. You are the consistency. Even as you change and grow, it's still your vision, your core values, your belief system, your excitement and passion for what you're doing. So it all comes back to that. And that's really the clarity, is making sure you're clear about what you stand for, who you are, what you bring to the table. You can go into a networking group. I'm sure you've experienced this as well. Yeah. You walk into a networking event and there's at least 13 people that say they do what you do. Mm-hmm. But the really awesome part about that is once you are super clear about your way of doing it and what you bring to the table, there is no competition because nobody does it exactly the way you do it. And then if you get clear about your ideal client, nobody serves the people that you serve. If you have those people on your schedule, that the ones that, when they call you and you kind of cringe just a little bit because it's not, what I'm talking about. Everybody has those people.
I do.
You do, right?
Absolutely.
This is the ideal client portion of it. You want, especially as entrepreneurs, you want to serve and you want to help. And so you start working with people that probably aren't yours, or you do A, B, and C, and they go, oh, but could you just do E, F, and G? And you're like, yeah, I'd love to.
Right.
When you're doing the entire alphabet and your genius zone is long in the back rearview mirror. That's the kind of clarity I'm talking about. That's that when you speak to someone who is not yours, it doesn't matter how amazing your message is, it's not going to land right. You're going to end up with people that just don't belong to you, people that aren't ready for you, people that really somebody else should be working with them. And then the cohesive part is building that momentum. You know, we've all heard some iteration of you have to be seen 7 times before you're top of mind when they go to make a purchase, right? You've heard this. You've taught this, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
For me, that doesn't mean you run by poking them with a stick 7 times going, hey, are you ready to buy? Hey, are you ready to buy? You know, you can't just randomly show up and try to sell stuff to them. You have to build and nurture and support that relationship. And when you are cohesive and consistent in your messaging and in your branding, and I'm not talking the same message over and over again, not boredom, not single note, just cohesiveness. You actually build momentum and you build that relationship so that when they are ready to buy, there's no one but you on their radar. There is no competition. So that really is like, that's the foundational. And then just make sure your message is so much less about what you need to say, and it's more about what they need to hear, the way they need to hear it. Speak to their pain, speak to, you know, benefits. And really that's the foundation. Do not build a logo. Do not design a logo until you have these 3 things created. You will end up, it will, I'm speaking to you is,
thank you for saying
feel
that.
my pain. These people who, bless their little hearts, they're told when you start a business, get a logo. Like, okay, but put on the brakes just a little bit. Let's figure out what you want to say and what you want it to do. Then we will worry about the graphic version of it. Then we'll talk about the visual part of your brand. Does that help?
Yes. I have had countless conversations over and over because no one really, I'm starting to see they don't really, most new business owners don't understand branding. Yeah. They're so busy in the marketing piece and they're like, just market me. I want
to be everywhere.
Everybody has to see me. It's like, you cannot market a crappy brand. You can't do it. You can't market if no one knows you.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
That's one definitely that I see on a reoccurring basis. Like, so literally every day. It's like, yeah, it's crazy. So I'm glad we're in the same space right now and we understand each other's pain. Yeah. So let's fast forward just a little bit. How would someone know that it's time to rebrand if they've been in the game a little while, or let's say 2 or 3 years? How would they know that it's time to rebrand if they even needed to rebrand?
If they need to rebrand. This is one of my favorite groups of people. I love the individual who is getting to that point where the day-to-day doesn't scare the heck out of them. They are not so worried that they're taking every single client. They probably said no a half dozen times, which, by the way, is completely cathartic. Like, if you've never tried that, do it. Fire that person that when they call you cringe, fire them. Yeah. It is elevating. You will just buzz for 24 hours after you let go of that dead weight. So the people who have been in business for a couple of years, and I kind of call it, you're ready to do it for real. You're done collecting your brand as you can afford it, as there's a need for it, and you're ready to really create it. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest indicators, I think, is when you have things that have been working for you up to that point, and they're just not creating the same return. They're not quite as productive, as profitable. If there's something in your marketing and in your brand that when you think about doing it, you're like, oh, I would just rather eat a bug than go do that newsletter. Right. That's kind of a good indicator that it's time to just step it up. If you start handing out, whether that's your social posts, your business card brochure, if you're at a trade show and you have spiffs, if there's things that you realize you're starting to hesitate as you hand it to a person, or if you are apologizing for it, oh my goodness, I was handed a business card the other day and they're like, so sorry, this is, I went, oh, for the love of, can we just fix this, please? Like, it's a business card. This isn't even hard. But again, they get busy doing that every single day thing, and they just don't think about it. So I would say that if there's slight hesitation, if they are not, if their schedule is not full of people they love to work with, they're attracting the wrong person. They are deliberately, with their message, attracting and calling in the wrong people. And that's when it's time to just, let's revisit this. Let's make sure we're using the right words, make sure that they still are excited about it. Like if somebody says, what do you do? And there's a sigh first, we should rebrand. We should rebrand. You should still be making this face all the time about your business.
Right.
Otherwise, there's a disconnect somewhere.
I love that. I love the way you you put that. If you aren't in that excited space all the time, people, it's time to rebrand. Yeah. So you heard it. Okay. So what are some common mistakes that new and older businesses make?
It is the biggest one. And again, it doesn't matter how long you've been in business. I'm going to go with distraction. And when I say distraction, I mean jumping into marketing things that you can afford, but you haven't asked the questions like, is my ideal client at the other end of it? What do I actually want to create out of this? What do I want them to do? But you know that you can afford it, so you check yes. Distraction as in other people in your industry are doing these three things. So suddenly you're doing those three things. You don't know why, other than somebody you deem as your competition is doing those three things. That's a distraction. Getting stuck in the things you like to do, but you don't love to do. That's probably the number one killer of passion, of vision. I call that, like, that's your soul sucking activities. It's when you have lost some of that excitement, it's rarely because you're doing things you hate to do, because you won't keep doing that, right? That's not something you do every single day. You don't schedule stuff you absolutely abhor. You schedule things that are okay. You schedule things that are fine. And I'm like, that's $20 the hard way. Could we stop doing that, please?
Exactly.
That will absolutely diminish everything in your business. It just weights you down. Instead of staying in your zone of genius, that stuff that you could do in your sleep, you would do it for free if your business didn't depend on it. Like, that's where you should be spending most of your time. That will keep you moving forward. That will keep you successful. That's how your brand grows. Like, your brand's never done, right? It's a verb. It's always moving with you. It's growing with you. Always. These are activities you do all the time. So when you start getting distracted from what your vision is and that change you said you wanted to affect in the world, that distraction, it doesn't matter how big you are, what you're doing, it will make you stagnate. Absolutely.
It definitely will. So let me ask you this, because you brought up a very good point and you made me think of something. What do you think about these business owners that are, because I call this personally brand confusion. So you have an entrepreneur that is in one thing and they're great at it. And say they are, I don't know, they have a restaurant. Just throwing that out there.
Okay, good.
And all of a sudden they're like, you know what? I had an epiphany. I want to be a speaker. They're not speaking about restaurants. They're just speaking on other things.
Okay.
And then they're like, oh my God, you know what? I am a great pianist. I'm going to do that as well. What do you think about those entrepreneurs?
You call that brand confusion? Is that what you call it? That's an understatement, sweetie. Oh,
I see it every day. So what would you say to those entrepreneurs?
That sounds like one of those where I don't know if I should slap you or hug you. Like, but you need some physical contact to just wake you up. What I would say is I would go back to the basics. Because for me, if you are going to do something in business, if you are going to brand, if you are going to invest time, money, energy, any of your resources into a brand, it has to bring you the biggest bang for your buck. And for me, that's not just money. For me, that is anything that takes you back to that genuine thrill of getting paid to do what you love to do and work with people you adore. So I would say, let's go back to the basics. Let's start with your core values. Let's see what's important to you. Like, what is it that's drawing to you to playing the piano and being a speaker, when really what you're good at, like, is that actually your joy? Because especially since those are so, I would almost say that's less dangerous than somebody who, like when I started my business, I'm like, I'm a graphic designer. I will do print. Ooh, I could do web design. Ooh, I could be web developer. Ooh, I could do that. And because they're so closely related, it was very easy to get dragged down that rabbit hole.
Right.
So if they're going to try these, and whether it's all the same or completely disparate, I would say go back to what brings you the most money and the most joy. What is really lights you up? What makes you feel like you are standing on center stage in the spotlight going, heck yeah, let's do this. Let's rock. Let's have this great time. And oh, by the way, there's a lot of money coming in from it. If that is not being a piano player, stop it. That's a great hobby. Stop pretending like that's a business. If it is not speaking, stop it. Quit pretending like that's your business. And maybe it is. And maybe the reason you just can't let go of whatever. What was plan A? What was a restaurant? Maybe they're just not ready to let go of that. And then that's part of, as you walk through that process of your core goals and what do you want to do in the world? How do you want people to remember you? What kind of a legacy do you want to leave? That can help separate the distractions from the genuine opportunities. That's how
Very well said. I like that, because I just, I had started telling them, just figure it out. And when you pick one that you're passionate about, then we can have a conversation. Because, being all over the place, it's hard for people to take you seriously. They don't know exactly what it is that you do, what you want to do. And then they're thinking, this is the right thing to do. But you cannot, no matter, multitasking is, we can't. It's not.
It's scientifically proven you actually can't do that.
You cannot ever. So when people say that they can, it's like, it drives me nuts.
Like, oh, you're delusional too. This is awesome.
Yes. Thank you. So it just drives me crazy, because I'm like, you cannot give everything into, this brand and pour all of you and your passion into it if you're divided. You're one person divided in 9 ways.
Well, think of it like this. Just tell them, say, if you want to go to a podiatrist, for example, if you have a special foot thing and you need a specialist and a doctor, do you want him to be out, I don't know, slopping the horses and the pigs on his side time? Like, that's what he does on Tuesdays, but he does foot surgery on Wednesdays. Like, that's not who I would trust my health with. Like, when I want a specialist, I want somebody who specializes in that, loves it more than I do, cares about the outcome more than I do. And that's what I want him spending all of his time on, all of his attention. And again, it's not because it's boring. I want you to just pick something. How can you be the authority at 5 different things? There's so many people out there, and there's so many opportunities and so many options for social media, content management or branding or design or coaching. There's so many options available. You have to pick the thing where you can stand out as the best. Otherwise, you really are going to get lost in, your restaurateur, speaker, piano players.
Yes, you.
Oh, that's sad. They need.
Yeah.
Gonna be okay. Go. You're going to be fine.
Yeah. Wow. So what are some ways that we can test the waters to see if people are responsive to our brand message if we're not really sure?
I love that you put it that way. One of those things, again, because branding isn't ever done, I have watched people sit, and whether it's design or branding, it's scooch it to the left and make that blue a little darker, and they will sit and mess with it and fiddle with it until it's way too late, until everybody's lost their love of it. Mm-hmm. So I love that you talk about testing it. That's what I tell people. I'm like, don't question it, test it. So put it out there. One of the things I love to tell people is, first of all, write it down and say it out loud, like to yourself, in the bathroom, in the mirror, whatever. If it's a message, say it out loud. Send it to 3 or 4 different people and say, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Give me your genuine, what do you get from this? And not like, do you like it or would you buy it? Do they actually understand what you're trying to say? Because that goes back to that clarity piece. Like, I watch these people and they use such inside lingo, and they don't mean to, but they have that expert syndrome where when you know something so well for so long, you forget that other people don't. Mm-hmm. They don't know what you know. They don't speak the way you speak. And so what is inside lingo to them is not inside lingo to you. You're like, no, that's how everybody talks. It's not how everyone talks.
Mm-hmm.
So I would collect 3-4 people who you absolutely trust that are going to kick your butt if it's wrong. Not ones that are going to blow smoke, but ones that are honestly going to go, that's not what you think it means. You keep using that word. That's not the right word. And then I would call some of your current and past clients and say, what do you think of this? Send a social, I mean, especially with social media, test it 24 hours. It doesn't matter anyway, right? I mean, there's some level of that it's going to just be kind of a hit and miss anything, whether it's your stories or your lives or whatever. There's only a certain shelf life with some of that. Make sure the biggest way to do it is to make sure your ideal clients at the other end of it. That's going to be your biggest chance of success and the biggest chance of really getting the response you want. There's another way. Make sure you're clear about what you want it to do. You know, people who are doing these Facebook Lives are like, I'm going to make $1 million. I'm like, oh, no, that's not a thing. I mean, chances are your one Facebook Live, unless your millionaire clients are on Facebook all the time, chances are that one thing is not going to make you $1 million. Writing one book is not going to make you $1 million. So be clear about what you want the outcome to be, and be open to some feedback as people are, you know, and don't be crushed if nobody likes your Facebook Live, if nobody listens. It's okay. It's not because they don't hate you. It's not because they hate you. It's just because they weren't there. It's going to be all right. Tweak it a little bit. Give it 30 days and test it, and then tweak it a little bit.
Awesome advice. Awesome. I love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So what were some of the challenges that you faced as an entrepreneur in getting into business?
How dirty secrets do you?
Just give us a couple.
You know, I think one of my biggest challenges, and it's part of why I started with the Rockstar thing, because for me, Rockstar means no apologies, no disclaimers, no caveats. It's 100% of who you are. Mm-hmm. You plant your feet firmly and you claim that space as yours, right? Like, I'm here, you're here, let's rock. I had built brands for real estate agents for 9 years. I'm like, I know how to do this. So when I jumped to start my brand, I'm like, I got this. I know how to network. I know how to brand. I have this. And because I couldn't figure out the words to say, by the way, I'm a branding expert, because when I'd say I'm in branding, I had a surgeon ask me, oh, so like tattoos? Like, oh, for the love of, no, you're supposed to be smarter than me. Please know that, please tell me there's something besides tattoo in your head when I say branding. So instead of getting clear about it and using the right words and realizing what they needed to hear, I totally chickened out. I'm like, you're right, I'm a graphic designer. Because everybody knows what a graphic designer is, right? So that's easy. And I started a networking group. It was a branch of BNI, and I'd been in there for 2 years, and I was VP for most of that. And I walked in and heard somebody introduce me to a guest. And they're like, that's Amber. She's our business card queen. She does business cards super cheap. And I was devastated. I was just on the floor. I'm like, how can you know me and not know me? I've been here forever. How do you not know me? And then when I went home, I was even more distraught, because I'm like, oh, I think that's actually how you say it. Like, they were listening to me, because that's how I talked. I was so worried about people understanding me, so worried about making money, so taking in the clients, again, $20 the hard way. I was trying to figure out how to discount everything I did just to get the clientele. When I realized that if I spoke correctly, as in to my ideal clients, that's what I mean by correctly, is using words that they actually need to hear, and claimed what my genius was. I by the way, I don't do business cards on the cheap. I have people I can connect you with. I make really amazing business cards, but they're not cheap. But having that strength and that confidence to say, no, this is me, and this is what I offer, and this is the value I provide, and these are the results I cause, and this is the price tag attached to that. That completely overhauled the way I did business. It's the way I approach people. It changed, honestly, almost everything about my business, where I networked, how I marketed. And I'm looking at it back and thinking, oh, did I really have to learn that so hard? I mean, I spent probably the first 3 years of my business just struggling. And I look back and think, okay, well, that lesson's learned. What's next? Here we go.
Oh, wow. And, you know, I love that you shared that, because I think sometimes we do, especially as, entrepreneurs, we struggle with the pricing and charging our worth, and actually putting it out there. And we're great, phenomenal at what we do. And we're so scared of people being like, yeah, I don't know about that. But we shouldn't care, because like you said, they're not us. They're not for us.
No. If somebody wants business cards for $20, there's probably 20 different people online that could do that for them. Absolutely. I am not your girl. And that's okay. Like, no, that's not good, bad, or anything. That's just how it is. I'm probably not for you. And I think that it's what I'm like, quit trading dollars for minutes. Stop that. This is not about your time. They talk about the guy who comes in to fix a house because there's a squeaky nail. There's a squeak in the floor. And the guy comes in, spends about 5 minutes, puts in a nail, and turns to the people and says, it's $300. They're like, that was one nail. He said, no, $5 for the nail, $2.95 for knowing where to put it. I'm like, that's exactly how it is. Like, if you think about your genius, your expertise, that's not time. You charge for the value you provide and the results that you cause, not for your minutes, not for your hours. Let that go.
Exactly. I hope you guys are taking notes, and I hope you're listening, because that is one thing that I really, really teach all the time. It's like, we have to stop this whole trading thing, and oh my God, what are they going to say? And, and that's going back to the basics, learning your ideal client. And so you wouldn't even have to worry about that. You would go directly to them, so you can just cut all of that nonsense out anyway.
Yeah. Your ideal client will never question your value.
Never.
That's part of what makes them ideal. If the timing doesn't work out, if the budget's not quite there, fine. But your ideal client will never question your value. They will never question your invoice. That's the rule. Otherwise, they're not yours.
Absolutely. So what would you say to the business owners that solely, and this happens, I'm telling you, it happens, that solely focus on marketing and branding not so much?
Marketing is a portion of your brand. Branding is everything you do and everything you say to create and nurture a relationship with your ideal client that is powerful and profitable. Marketing is a portion of it. Your logo is a portion of it. Your brand includes your vision, your mission, your message, your ideal clients. It includes your business cards, to your website, to your social posts, to your email signature. It's everything. If all you're doing is marketing without making sure that it's cohesive and clear, it will not convert. Bottom line. Because again, that goes back to, I'm just going to poke you with a stick. And if you get 7 of my postcards in a month and you're going to buy from me, there's no way that's working. I'm going to just keep posting on Facebook, just random nonsense. That's spam, people. That's not even marketing. Marketing is part of your branding strategy. You have to incorporate all of it. If you neglect it, you do so at your own peril. Is that too doomy? Yeah. Is that too doomsday?
No, it is absolutely. And I knew you were going to say that, and I needed you to say that, because I am literally, I had to go in for a consultation for a client, and they were adamant. They've been in business 28 years and literally have not built a brand, and they're solely focusing on marketing. And they called me in, and I'm like, well, where's your message? Where's the brand? Like, who's running this operation? Yeah. It seems like, it doesn't seem like humans are behind it. I'm trying to get them to understand that people buy people.
Yes.
They don't really have a cohesive story.
Oh, wow.
Don't have a story.
I don't want to work with them. I'm going to go work with somebody who I can connect with, that I can attach to.
Exactly.
There's something to sink my teeth in and have a relationship with. That's, I mean, even something like going back to a restaurant. You go once for the food, you keep going back for the people. You go back for the experience and the ambiance and the service. And without that cohesiveness, how are you running a business? I don't understand that. That's the hard way. I guess that's what it is. You can do it that way, but that's the hard way. Imagine how much, if you were making $1 million and you're not worried about your brand at all, imagine how much money you could be making if you worried about your brand just a little bit. Like, imagine the potential of just going, we're going to take 10 minutes and figure out what our message is so that it's consistent across the board, so that it's cohesive, so that it keeps bringing us fabulous people and not doing 20 bucks the hard way. Like, imagine the potential. Like, that's math. That's even branding expert math, so it's super easy. That's just potential. That's just potential. I don't mean to disparage you. That's how I call it. Like, that's Amber math, so it's super easy. This is not even hard. There's no fractions. It's mostly decimals. You know, like 3x your brand, 3x your potential, 3x your profit, 10 times the thrill of what you're doing. You don't have to, and cut off the dead weight. Oh, you need to go in with a bigger stick.
Yeah.
Be like, here we go. We're getting this done. Let's do this.
Exactly. And that's what's going to happen. Like, going back to basics, just dragging them back to basics. It's
going to be way more fun. They're going to have more fun doing it. They're going to have more success doing it. They will leave a better, maybe explain it to them this way. If they don't worry about their brand, if they don't create that cohesive story, that cohesive message, they can absolutely leave a business as a legacy. They will not actually leave anything worth having. You know what I mean? They're just leaving a building. They're just anything to be in there. You really want to make your mark on the world? Create a brand. That's where it started, right? Making your mark, branding it. You've got to have it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We should chat more often. This is fun.
We should, Amber. Definitely. So, speaking of, what are you the most excited about when it comes to our book?
Oh, wow. The collaboration of all that expertise, that collective genius in one spot. Wow. Like, I look at that lineup and I'm like, no false modesty. I'm really good at what I do. Like, I've been doing it for 20 years. I should be really good at what I do. And I look at everyone else in that book and think, oh, I'm not worthy. To have 15 women come together and say, this is how you can make it work. Skip all that. Don't take 3 years saying the wrong thing and being the chicken about it. Learn from our lessons. Make money. It's easy. It's okay. You can do this. The collective genius inside that cover, holy Hannah, like that's crazy cool. And these women, you may know some of them more than I do. Their personalities, it is just fun in a book. It is fun and genius in a book. You will laugh, you will cry, you will hurl, you will make money. You will absolutely make money after you read that book. I'm excited.
There's, that's the only option. When she told me about the project, and I was like, oh my God, this is a Bible. This is everything. This is
everything. Yeah.
This is a business Bible. Like, why wouldn't you want it? You don't have to buy 15 separate books.
You don't have to hire 15 separate coaches.
You don't. You can get us all in one book.
All in one book, all in one place. And I'm looking at that going, where the hell was that 11 years ago when I started my business?
Right?
Oh my word, I've been doing this the hard way. Where was this expertise in the collective? And here's the other part about that. Because we've all done it, it's like when I went to college, the one professor that I absolutely adored and have kept tabs on used to run a marketing agency in Boston. He spoke the most plainly. He spoke the most truth. You have these people who have a lot of knowledge, but they don't have firsthand experience. These women, these authors, they've done it. They have been in the trenches. They have had those bad days where you're like, screw it, I'm going to go be a florist. Like, I'm not doing this anymore, Like, their war cry is like, what? Exactly. Yes. You've been there, done that. You understand their pain and you speak plainly to it and say, it's okay. I understand this is the part that's rotten. Let's just fix it. So I'm just thrilled to be a part of it. I really
know. And the fact that I get the pleasure to interview each and every one of you.
Risha, I am so grateful. Thank you so much,
Amazing.
Chase.
Oh, it's absolutely my pleasure. Trust me, I love talking to all of you about your genius. It is like, yes. I love it. I absolutely love it. Well, I am not going to keep you, but I just wanted to let you know you're definitely winning in this branding space. I want to definitely so much thank you for being a part of the show and sharing your expertise with us. So how can we follow and connect with you and stay connected?
Oh, there's a couple different ways. First, of course, I'm on Facebook. You can find me under Branding Rockstar. You can always follow me on Your Brand by Design. I'm on Instagram, of all weird places. Talk about something, try something new. You don't think your business could work? You'd be surprised at some of the stuff that actually is magic. So you can follow me on Instagram or Facebook, LinkedIn. But the number one thing I would love to offer your listeners, Chase, is an opportunity to have a conversation with me. Conversations with branding experts are expensive, and they are sometimes hard to get a hold of for just a single conversation. So I would love to offer the Discovery Duet. It's a one-on-one conversation. You can go and find space on my calendar. It's yourbrandbydesign.com/duet, DUET. Find a time that works for you. Let's have a small conversation about what's working, what's not. Sometimes it's an overhaul, but sometimes it's tweaking little things. I mean, you know this, like sometimes it's just little stuff that you're too close. You know, they say you're too close to it, you can't see your eyebrows.
Exactly.
This is your opportunity for someone else to look at your eyebrows and say, if you just, if you just adjust, you know, you're not completely off key, you're just singing a little flat. Let's just elevate it a little bit and get you unstuck. So it's yourbrandbydesign.com/duet. I would love to chat with you. Completely complimentary. It'll be way fun.
Oh my, take advantage. Take advantage. Get on her calendar, people, please. Okay.
It'll be fun. I can't wait to hear from you.
I know, right? All right, everyone. So there you have it. Amber, the branding rock star here. I will put all of the information in the show notes and in the description on YouTube as well. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Winning Brand podcast this week. I can be reached at info@thewinningsbrand.com. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know and I will get back to you. Always remember, you were born to win, but to be a winner, you must plan to win and prepare to win and expect to win. Until next time, bye.